Hey, Twisted people, it's your girl here, Chauncey K. Robinson, aka Twisted CKR, and I'm here with my mama, and we are doing Evil, Season 3, Episode 8, The Demon of Parenthood, which was an interesting episode, if I do say so myself. A lot of things went down, a lot of revelations, a lot of really good stuff in terms of what we're seeing, where things could be going for the characters in general and things like that. So I'm very excited for it. But we're going to be talking about that. Once again, we're really excited for the fact that Evil, for those who might not know, got renewed for season 4. And that's really good because, hey, Felix, how's it going? That's really good because, it's a crazy time right now with streaming, with broadcast. Broadcast television has always been weird. They tend to cut off stuff all the time or whatever. But we also have been seeing with like Netflix and HBO, Warner Brothers, HBO Max, that they are the hammer or the axe, and it's coming down on a lot of stuff. So, hey, Tom, how's it going? What's up, Twisted fam? Hope your day's going great. Season 4, we're getting it. So, I was just reflecting how with so many shows and movies, like I got my Batman shirt on in honor of the fact that we're not going to be getting the Batgirl movie, because Warner Brothers decided they just weren't going to show it, even though it's done. So a lot of stuff. It's weird what's going on in streaming right now. A lot of things are kind of iffy, I guess, because of what's going on in terms of maybe the way they're looking at the business aspect of it. Maybe they're finally realizing that all the money they were pouring into some of it, they might need to think a little bit better on that. So we've been seeing that happen or whatnot. So it's good to know that at least our Evil is safe for another season. Hopefully 2 more seasons after that, but we'll see, or more. As long as they need to tell the story, I guess we'd want it for. We don't need them to go for 20 years or something, but at least to finish out what all of this is about would be great. Yeah. Let's get to it. We actually only have one episode to talk about tonight, because normally because sometimes I miss a week or whatnot, we usually have like 2 episodes, but we can kind of dig into one episode in particular because we are actually up to date. Oh my gosh. And as always, I am so appreciative of all you coming to hang out with me, because this is something I love doing, hanging out, talking stories and things like that. So okay, so we have The Demon of Parenthood. We're on episode 8. I still need to find out how many episodes we actually have in this season. I feel like we should be getting at least 11 to 13. That's my guess, especially if they're giving them a season 4. I would think they're not going to shortchange us the seasons or the episodes each season, but we'll see. And we had some major vocabulary words like honky tonk and things like that. And it was very much, dealing also with Kristen and David's trust issues and their relationship in an interesting way that they kind of took that on, which we can talk about. But first and foremost, lady, let me know if you had to give this episode or you are giving this episode a grade. What grade are you giving this episode?
I give this episode just an A because it was good. It started off, okay, and then it started getting better. It was a good one. It was an A. I give it an A. That's my
score.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a picture for those who are watching of the David Kristen semi face-off thing going on.
So they was in the other apartment because she was.
They were in the garage. Yeah.
Garage. Okay.
If I had to give this episode a grade, I'd probably give it a B. I give it a B. It wasn't my fave episode. I feel like it was one of the better episodes in terms of David's plot line, because David's plot line has been really good this season. And his growth and what he's doing with the entity. I have really enjoyed that. It was weird. I feel like and I love the creepy toys. That's my jam. Creepy toys are my jam. So in that regard, it was.
Like,
I don't know. I felt like it was missing a little bit of its charm this episode. Not in a bad way. Like, listen, like the episodes of Evil are like top tier for me. So for me to give it a B, that's like an A+ in any other mediocre show, to be honest. So it's not saying that this episode was bad in any way or that I disliked it. I guess it's because I don't want to be giving every episode an A, because mainly Felix is saying they give it an A+ in terms of being so creepy. And let us know in the chat, y'all, and also in the comment section what grade you would give it. I don't know. It was. Hey, Sabeti, how's it going? Yeah, I feel like this episode, I gave it a B only because it was missing some of the joy. And I know,
really
I don't know. Well, I'm explaining it, lady. All right, I'm saying
tell me what joy.
Well, most of the episodes, even when it's dark, there are moments of a little bit more levity. And although I'm always great. It's always great to sometimes you don't need the levity all the time. I think the weakest part for me was probably Kristen's plot line in this one. I think that was the issue for me. That's why I gave it a B. Kristen's kind of response to David, which we'll talk about, I was a little thrown off by a little bit. I didn't particularly care for her reasoning for getting on him, although I loved how he ended up, responding. It was probably Kristen's thing that kind of just it worked because it got to where it needed to go, but it happened so quickly, I think that was what it was for me. It was just like, wow, we found the egg. Yasmin comes in, and I had never seen Yasmin before. And that just threw me off. It was like, okay, all of a sudden she has a lawyer named Yasmin, and it's like, where did Yasmin come from? I've never seen her before. I don't know. Okay, cool. And she's been working on this case for like, I guess a year or some change that we never even heard of before. It was like, okay, this is coming out of nowhere a little bit. Kristen has not even hinted that she's been looking into this. So things like that, I felt like Kristen's part of the episode and some of her reactions were kind of the weakest for me. And usually, that's what I mean. Usually in all the other episodes, all three of our leads have very strong plot lines going on. And I felt like Kristen's was a little lacking for me. Or maybe it's just my bias because I didn't care for the way she was responding and stuff. Either or, I wasn't feeling what that was about. Sabet, let's see what you guys are saying. Sabeti is saying, I think it was an A-. I want some stories to have an ending. Oh my gosh, isn't that the way with this? I mean, we finally got Grace back, y'all. We're going to talk about that because, oh my gosh, was that not an open-ended thing for so long with Grace? So I'm glad they finally did that. Jaws, what's up, Jaws? How's it going? Long time no talk. Hope you're doing great. Jaws is saying, I give it a B+. I think they tried something different and leaned more into an eerie vibe for this, which is different for Evil because I felt like something was off too, but not in a negative way. Exactly. It was something was different. I don't know if it was a different writer this time with Kristen's part in particular, but it felt a little just not the same kind of flow. I think that's what it was. The flow just felt different. And Kristen's part, I wasn't feeling it as much. Yes, the way it ended was very good. It was just like, whoa, they definitely pack a punch in every episode. Right? Yeah, Tom's saying, right? And Yasmin, was comfortable going through her cabinets. I'm like, when did Kristen get this new BFF that we have never seen before?
She said, I want an adult drink. She said,
no shade. I liked her. It's not like I didn't. I'm like, okay, I liked her too. It was nice. It was good. But I was just like, where did she come from?
Yeah, but get
Where
that
is
money. I didn't know
what
she had
what
that money.
right? I was like, where is this coming from?
Who did
You
you
know what I
sue?
mean?
Who did you sue?
And like, why didn't we ever see her and Andy having a conversation about this? Does Andy even know about the egg thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, once again, this also just shows her and Andy don't communicate, because I don't remember her and poor Andy right now, but I don't remember her and Andy ever having conversation that she was
About
pursuing
yeah.
where her egg was. Like, that's why it just came out of nowhere from me, because we didn't see her talk to anybody about this, but we'll talk about that. Josh is saying, no, for real. They just dropped her lawyer in there. Laugh my butt off. I thought I missed him. Right? I was like, who is this? This show, it throws me off so much sometimes in a good way that I don't know if anyone's ever watched, aside from me right here in this chat, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the series. But there was a season when Buffy all of a sudden got a younger sister. I don't know if people remember that season. She got a younger sister, came out of nowhere. And the way the episode was set up was that as though the younger sister had always kind of been around. And they never really hinted at the idea of, who is this? Am I crazy? Was she at boarding school this whole time? Like, and then you find out that the younger sister was placed there by a supernatural force, and it's actually like the embodiment of some kind of entity thing that Buffy needs to protect. So she never really had a younger sister, but they kind of changed it. Dawn was the key. Yes, Betty, we getting it. Millennials rise up, because we watch Buffy, right? So Dawn was the key. And that was the whole thing. But the way the episode was set up, it was like Buffy was talking about Dawn as if she always had a younger sister. And I think it was smart, because the whole audience was thrown off like, who the heck is, what? Am I missing something? I've been watching for the last 6 years, right? I've never heard of Dawn before. And I was wondering if Evil was pulling that with us. I really was, because, Kristen was having these, her night terrors are back and everything. And I'm thinking, what if Yasmin's not even real or something? Like, you know what I mean? I was like, who is this person out of nowhere? And I honestly, the first thing I thought was Dawn from Buffy. I was like, what if this is like, we're all supposed to be thrown off, because why would we not question why we've never seen this character before? Maybe I'm probably thinking too deep with it, because as a Buffy fan, I just remembered that whole throw off of what they did with the show, which I thought was very smart in that moment. But it really just, it really just threw me off. Tom is saying Andy is asleep. Yes. So Betty said, I was wondering if Grace was just a hallucination. And that's the whole thing with Grace too. She can't be a hallucination. Like, she has hallucinated to David before, but I think this time she was real. I do think this time she was real.
She was real too.
Josh is saying, I'm waiting for them to announce Andy is dead. Yeah, see what happens there for sure.
I bet you they don't do that till near the end.
Probably. Okay, so like I said, I'd give it a B, maybe a B plus for David's plot line. Ben didn't do much this episode, but he did have the really creepy interactions with the toys, which were phenomenal. We loved it. But yeah, I felt like Kristen's part was a little bit, not as much. Yeah, exactly. She has to be real, because she was representing Kristen when they found her egg. Exactly. You're right about that with Yasmin. That's when I realized, okay, she's actually like, she's in there. This is a whole room. But I was just thrown off. I was just like, I've never seen this person before. Is she going in cabinets? They have a little back and forth. I've never seen this woman. But okay, not mad at it. I mean, I know they only got but so much they can show. It would have been nice had we'd seen like some kind of interaction with her hiring her or something like that. So I don't know. Okay, so I gave it a B. Most of y'all are kind of giving it like an A minus. My mom gave it an A plus. She was feeling it. So let's talk about the different plot lines that were going on. I guess the first we'll talk about the toys last, because the toys situation is we have to kind of talk about it in relation to the entity and what that was, because they did have that discussion and wondering if it was a real thing or if it was, whatever it was. So let's talk about Kristen and David first and foremost. This situation, because it started off, Kristen is having, we'll do Kristen's plot line. So it started off with Kristen is having night terrors again. And I was very happy to see George, right? George is our demon. I was very happy to see George again. I loved it. He was like, long time no see. He had a little vid tap video. I thought that was very funny. Her and him and Lexi doing the thing. It was very cute opening. And then we basically had Kristen kind of having thoughts about her egg. You know, it kind of fell off the radar for a bit, but clearly Kristen has been working on that. But before we got to that part where we find out about Yasmin, the lawyer who has been working on this hardcore, we saw that Kristen is having some issues with David. And I really want to wonder, I want your thoughts on this in chat, let me know. I had some issues with Kristen kind of saying she had trust issues with David. The first thing I wrote down was, didn't you kill someone and not tell them for like a year? You know what I mean? I'm sorry, Kristen, that you don't trust David when you are literally a murderer.
Yeah,
and did not tell them
really
that you killed someone. And then when you did tell him, he forgave you.
Yeah.
Yet you're mad at him because he wasn't completely forthright in the very beginning. But in the midst of that,
my teeth.
Yeah, in the midst of that, he didn't end up spying on your daughter or anything like that. He actually decided against that. He just didn't bring you in the fold that he decided against that. And so I felt some kind of way where she was like, how can I trust you? And I'm just like, and then the thing where she said, you're just like everybody else. I felt like that was unfair because he is human. And that's one of the things that David deals with, having his faith and having his being human. You know what I mean? And here it is. He's being guilt tripped almost for having these responses and having conflict. Like, he's not a saint. And in a way, I was a little annoyed that I felt like Kristen had put him up on this weird pedestal to the point where he's not allowed to do anything wrong, but she's allowed to be completely flawed. And I don't think that's how, and I'm glad they grapple with that, actually, to be honest, because it needed to be grappled with if they're ever going to do anything further with their relationship. But I just didn't care for the way she kind of made David feel bad about that. Like, they're close, and he even said it. I love you. I care about you more than anybody else. But the thing is, she keeps stuff from him. She got a husband and all this stuff. She keeps stuff from him. He don't got to tell her everything. And honestly, up until the last episode, most of his assignments had nothing to do with her. It was only towards the lightest assignment that was about her. So he really had no obligation up to that point to tell her anything. And it's not like she hasn't, like, all that season when she thought they were going to catch her for being a murderer, she was leaving the scene all the time too to clean up bodies and go kill a guy. And she wasn't telling them, hey, I'm going to go kill so-and-so. I just feel like I should tell you. She never did that. So this whole thing of, you were keeping secrets from us. You never told us. You're just like everybody else. You mean like you too?
You're like you too.
Like, he's not allowed to be a human with a life that doesn't tell you everything?
Yeah, he should have said that. They should have made him say that bad.
I mean, he's not that type of person, right? David's a good guy. He's not going to do that. So he took the blame on himself, What did you think about that, lady? And let us know in the chat and stuff what y'all thought about it. What did you think about that, Mom?
Yeah, when she came out of her mouth like that, I felt like, no, you didn't just say that to him.
Mm-hmm.
Killed somebody. You kept things from him when you was doing your little whatever whoring thing that you was doing.
Right? She was having sex with guys in cars. She was having a whole... She had a whole double life going on.
Yes, and then you did certain things. You never told David, hey, I did this. But you wanted him to tell everything that he's doing. And he told you that he was not allowed to tell anyone. So you had, look, that kind of pissed me off right there. And then when she left, I said, she getting mad at somebody. I said, but that's okay.
Right?
I said, Dave, you don't need her. I said, I'm still here.
Hey, right. Hey, Deb's asking, I'm still confused about Cheryl. Is she possessed, not possessed? She's helping Leland with Lexi. We're going to talk about that. We definitely got to Got to hash that out too. But that is a very good question. It was a question we had last episode with the whole thing with Andy seemingly having the same procedure she was having with the transfusion of liquid, but now he's comatose. So we got to talk about that. But that is a very good question, especially with the whole question with Lexi. Hey, Josh, how's it going? My Wednesday's going good. It's the midweek, just surviving. Hope everyone else is too. Jaws is saying, I felt like her trust issues with David in this episode is very off-putting for her character. It was. I felt like it was to me, the way she went at him was unfair. I just thought it was unfair. I was like, given everything she's pulled and didn't tell them, David has one secret, and it's literally for something bigger than himself, and like trying to save the world from like devil apocalypse. And she's mad because
she's mad because she wasn't included in that. That's how I see it.
I think on some level it was probably jealousy too. I think on some level Kristen at times wants to have her cake and eat it too. And I think especially with David and the whole Andy situation in her home life, that I think she's gotten to this point where it's this weird thing with her and David where it's like, I'm your person. You're supposed to let me know everything. But it's like, David doesn't have to have you be his person. And I say this as someone who eventually wants them together at some point if they could get their stuff together. But yeah, it's like, but you get what I'm saying? Like David's not like David. David doesn't have to be her person. He has no obligation to that, and I felt like she was expecting that from him. And when she didn't get complete and total honesty, AKA just let you know everything about my existence, she felt some type of way. But I don't think it was justified.
Yeah, but then when she tried to accuse him, well, when they say that Leland was after me, is that why you hired? When she asked him, is that why you hired me? And he said, no, I hired you because you was good at your profession.
Mm-hmm. See, I thought that came out of nowhere. I'm like, so what? You're trying to say David's in on it too? Like David hasn't had his issues?
I think that's what she was trying to add, in a way, insinuate that he was doing that, and he's looking at her like, no.
I think it also goes to the point of saying that Kristen needs to realize, like a lot of people do in the world, you are not the main character in everyone else's story. You are the main character in your own story. We all are hopefully, we all are the main character in our own stories. We all have our thing. That does not mean that everyone else's story has you as the center of it. David has his own story. David has his own wants and needs and character trajectory. It's not just about his relation to Kristen's character, just like Ben has his own wants, desires, and character trajectory. And I feel like Kristen almost, and in this episode, because she doesn't usually do it like this, I feel like in this episode, and it's probably had to do with her stress over Lexi. So I'm giving her the space of being a mother that's very terrified for her daughter and just trying to figure it out. That she just kind of made it so that it's like, okay, am I at the center of all of this? And it's like, David's got his own stuff going on. You're not at the center of David's thing. He cares for you. He loves you. You love him too. But you, just like you're the center of your world, David's the center of his own too. And he has his own stuff going on. So Betty is saying, Kristen did not like David's mysterious phone calls. Could she be concerned that he may spill her secret? You mean her secret about the murder, or which one? The egg. I felt like her thing with his.
I thought David knew about the eggs that.
Yeah, he did. But she did mention that.
Andy, what is it? Andy?
Not yes, Andy. Her husband.
Ben, because she was talking to Ben about the egg situation at the time, but Ben asked, was there anything else? She didn't tell him the whole thing, so.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, if you guys, if y'all want to hit the like button, it's always appreciative. It feeds the algorithm monster, the demon of the algorithm, as we've seen in previous episodes. Tom is saying Kristen was affected by that exorcism and didn't mention anything, just in the bathroom on the floor. But I don't remember her mentioning that today. Exactly. She has so many things that have happened to her that we have never seen her have a conversation with David about. That it just felt like, so wait a minute, David's supposed to run to you about everything he deals with. But yes, she did have sex in her car. When did she have? She had sex in her car with that Satanist guy, the young Satanist guy that she ended up when she was on her. Yeah, she had sex in her car with that guy. Yes, she did a lot of stuff. She was on one last season. You know what I mean? Yes, she did. Yes, Deb, she did. Yes, we're all talking about the car sex. But she did that. And she ain't tell nobody, hey, I went off the deep end. Only thing she ended up confessing was the murder. That's it. And she did that in confession with David. You know what I mean? So there was that. John's saying, yep, exactly. I think maybe she felt betrayed because they feel like a couple partnership. Exactly. I think that's what I was saying. I feel like she's gotten to this point with David where she feels like, you're my person. You're supposed to tell me everything. But it's like, well, that'd be true or maybe justified to say if you did the same thing, Kristen, but you don't, you know? Tom is saying, I feel like Kristen is a fire sign. She gives me Aries vibes. She probably is. Maybe she is. I don't know. I'm a Pisces. So my mom's a Virgo. So I don't know. I don't really know too many Aries, to be honest. Do you know any Aries? I don't really know any Aries to kind of. Well, Michael's mother is an Aries, but she's a very lovely woman. So but they can be fiery. They definitely can be fiery.
Who's the Aries sign?
Who's in it? I don't know that. I was asking you.
What month do the Aries come in?
April.
Oh, April.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your father's a Taurus, so it can't be. So Aries come after Taurus or before Taurus?
I don't know. You know Zodiac more than I do.
I don't know, but hey, look, I haven't been in my Zodiac thing, so I don't know. But anyway,
Josh is saying this season has been so good so far. There has been really good character. Yes, exactly. There's definitely been very good character development. Yes, the murder. Yeah, exactly. The murder step. I don't think she's afraid of that because I think she knows that David. I think that could be an aspect. I think more so she just felt some type of way that she felt David was keeping secrets from her. And she didn't like that. I honestly, at some point, I thought maybe she thought that he was getting tempted by someone else. And she might was worrying who was up in his room. But, she'll never admit that.
Yes.
Oh, Josh, you're an Aries. All right. So are you identifying with Kristen?
Okay.
Josh, I don't know. Josh.
He said Aries is must. So Aries must come after Pisces.
They do. They come after Pisces. They're in April.
Okay.
When was your birthday, Josh? I think I might have wished you happy birthday over on Twitch, but I'm not sure if we had a stream during that.
He said Gemini is after Taurus. Yeah.
Geminis can be two-faced because they're like
twins.
Don't quote me on any of this, y'all. I'm not one of those girls who's like, oh my gosh, I can't go talk to you because you're this.
Two different personalities.
Yes. So Betty's saying Christian just seems to have an air of paranoia. Oh, definitely. And I do think that's an Aries thing for sure. Because I've seen that, the whole paranoia, kind of wondering if something is going on always. For sure. Oh, yes, I did wish you April 1st. Yes, I'm a fool too. You're an April 1st baby. Oh, that's cool.
He's an April 1st fool baby.
Oh. Yes, you're a fool baby. Josh is fool baby.
Say that was a fool baby. April fool. You
gonna start calling Josh fool baby. Deb is saying. Deb is saying, where did that head in the jar under her bed come from? I don't remember that. And why didn't Annie? We were talking about that. They have a really bad communication system. I'm not even sure.
Something from under your bed into the
toilet. Well, actually, yes, Andy. Now, that wasn't Christian's fault. Andy found that, and he didn't seem to mention that to her.
That's what I'm saying. You didn't tell her, baby, what was that jar? I poured a jar out that was under the bed.
And there was a small head inside.
Head in it. It won't flush down. That's why the bathroom was acting. And then you're gonna tell that's why the bathroom acting. Ever since I flushed.
Yeah.
But I don't. You keep hearing the flushing.
Yeah. Something's in the pipes. Tom is saying Aries can be headstrong like Christian, ready for battle like she was ready to light David up. Exactly. They are very fiery individuals. Deb is saying the toilet is making all these noises and he doesn't even mention it. Exactly. There's a very bad communication between them. So what we end up finding is that Kristen, her egg, Yasmin lets her know that her egg was embedded into another couple. Young, nice lady named Valerie, who seems to want to love the daughter who was supposed to be named Sarah. The husband of Valerie, though, Logan. I'm looking at my notes, y'all. The husband of Valerie, Logan, was questioning it though. He was asking Christian, like, I'm hearing growls. I don't trust this, and there was something a little off. A very tragic end to that happened, where Logan seemingly killed Valerie, which was really just such a horrific scene because, sometimes when characters, I will say I kind of saw something bad happening to them. I just didn't think it was going to happen in the same episode. I thought it was going to be more of a longer thing, like Christian was going to keep hanging out with them, and then something would happen like 2 episodes from now or in the season finale. So when it happened as quick as it did, that threw me off. Was not expecting that. I kind of figured Valerie wasn't long for this world, though. I am going to say that. Let me know, y'all, if y'all saw that coming or not, but I just figured something bad was going to happen to them. But the fact that they painted them as a nice couple. They seem like nice people, and Valerie wasn't trying to keep Kristen away from the baby or anything like that. So I think that's why it hit a little harder how tragic that was. What do you think, Ma?
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting. He said he was trying to save her. I'm trying to figure out, did he take the baby out?
Well, clearly she's dead. So.
Yeah, but what? I mean, was he trying to remove the baby from her?
Well, that's what it sounds like, that he was trying to basically.
I said, well, damn, what did he remove? And then when Kristen saw that, she went, oh my,
Yeah, it was very sad.
Yeah, I said, well, damn.
I mean, in a way, but this was a very creepy scene. Her with the demon baby.
And then when she tried, I said, "Oh, are you for real?"
I'm weird like that because I like animals. I was afraid she was going to take a knife to it or something and try to kill it, and that made me sad because even if it's a demon, it's still a baby, or it's still like, it's like me and animals. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, it doesn't know that it's evil yet. So I'm glad that it was more like, it was creepy that she tried to breastfeed it, but I'd rather that than her trying to kill the demon baby in her, thing. So that would have made me sad. I don't know what it is, y'all. Anything that's just like cutesy, even if it's gross looking, I don't want anything bad happening.
Yeah, he wasn't. Look, that baby was even cutesy.
But still, it was crying like a baby. So it was,
when they showed it, I said, what the hell?
And the teeth on that damn baby.
And then you're going to put something right there to try to, feed. I don't know. He probably just like.
Yeah. So Betty's saying, when the husband heard the growl, I knew it was over. Yeah. Josh is saying that was very creepy. Yeah. Deb is saying, I didn't think he'd kill his wife and the baby. Yeah, I figured something else was going to happen. Like maybe they were in on it or something like that.
Somebody called them and told them something. Do you think, okay, this is just a theory. Do you think somebody from Lin or whatever got to them?
Well, it is interesting the way that played out, right? Like all of a sudden, she's 8 months along, Valerie, and it's not until Kristen makes contact with him that Logan goes off the deep end. Yeah. I think that's a very weird. I do think that's a little too coincidental because you could be onto something that they maybe were trying to cover their tracks, because I do think that's a little too coincidental. Like, why did Logan go off the deep end just as Kristen was getting to know them? Why not a month ago? Why not before they even met Kristen? You know what I mean? Where is that coming from now? It's a little too coincidental, because I could believe that maybe something pushed him over the edge. Joss is saying Aries can also be a bit impulsive and then reflect later. So I can expect her coming to her senses and talk to David later about her trust issues and how she responded. I hope so. Because like I said, I didn't care for her response to him on that. Yeah, the last scene was something else. Kristen ate that up. Yeah, that was a really good performance.
Yes.
And the way they lingered on it was just heart-wrenching, you know? Because, you know,
that.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's like with shows like this, I think sometimes and this shows in general, right? We can be desensitized to death. We can be desensitized to people getting offed or getting hurt. So it's always interesting. And I think Evil has a really good way of doing it when it counts to make you really care. Like even in the first season when David had got stabbed multiple times by that random guy, that was really effective because I was like, whoa, this is intense when he had got stabbed. Or when the little boy got killed by his parents because they figured he was a demon spawn and they wanted to protect the younger daughter. That really hit differently because of what happened, you know? And so I think this show handles that really well. And considering that Valerie just seemed like such a nice person, and because of that, you probably figure she wasn't long for this world or for the evil world, but it still hit different. And I'm not sure how Christian's gonna respond to that. You know, it's another traumatic thing, you know. In a way, it gives Kristen what she wanted because she wanted the egg to be destroyed. She didn't want it like floating over in the world, but it also puts in a position of, oh my gosh, I was willing to be part of this, you know,
baby family. I mean,
and now this, you know, is gone. So that's something. And that was also very intense.
No, I didn't understand. Why didn't she ask David to come with her?
Well, they all have a tendency of going off on their own. So I don't know.
But she didn't tell David about that.
Well, yeah, once again, it just shows the hypocrisy that Christian doesn't tell everyone everything, but she expected David to tell
everything.
Everyone has to keep Christian in the loop. Christian doesn't have to keep everyone else in the loop.
Well, okay, now you know the part about the finger. How did they figure all the toys was evil? Because they said they was trying to get out, they were slaves or something like that.
We're gonna talk about that, but yeah, we're gonna talk about that because first we have to talk about it's connected to David's thing with the entity, right? Okay. David saying, I like the whole race and priesthood theme they've been tackling. I do too, and this kind of plays into David as a character of his own. One of my issues with season 2, as much as I loved it, was that I felt like David was kind of not off to the side, but he'd come in at the end of things after Ben and Christian would do stuff, and then David come in like, oh, what happened? So it's great that David's having a lot more autonomy in this, even though I love my trio for sure. But it's great that David's having a lot of autonomy of this. And I'm real, you know, at first I was hesitant about this storyline with him and the entity, but now I'm really liking it because I think it opens up this bigger world of the priesthood, the religious system, things like that. Secret societies is more what I liken it to at this point.
I mean, that's how I see. I mean, I never knew the Vatican was like, damn, you know.
Well, it's not. This doesn't confirm it, but this is an Evil's show that it is. But if you look in the history of the Vatican, they got some stuff that makes you wonder.
Yeah, you make you wonder, like, wait a minute, hold it, how come they got that much power?
Mm-hmm. So what we had with David this episode was very interesting. This is where the whole honky tonk stuff came in at, and he was like, "This is all a game to you," you know. And so what we find out is that a lot of this has to do with them trying to get Grace back. We love Grace. I love the episode that Grace was in with her and David with David in the hospital and Grace being there for him. And even the episode where we first met Grace. So I was really happy that she's back into the fold. And I hope we keep seeing more of her and the extent of her power, because we know she's the real deal in terms of what she can predict and things like that. So I really would love to see this explored. And so this is one of those moments where evil actually ties up or at least moves forward with the plot line and doesn't just leave it open-ended. So we're happy about that, right? So it was a whole thing with Honky Tonk, and this is what it connects to with the toy situation, right? Now, and I guess we have to talk about it at the same time because it was intertwined. Now, the thing with the toys initially seemed like it was with demonic toys, like toys that were somehow possessed, maybe by some people in a factory. Like Ben comes to the conclusion that the people in the factory are just trying to send out messages that they're in an enslavement camp in China or something like that, right? And then and that's his thing. Now David's thing is saying that it had to do with a very elaborate way of trying to get the message out about grace. And I want to know what y'all think about that, on whether or not you agree, who you agree with more or so. I kind of agree with David on that, only because Honky Tonk was responded to two times. The guy at the store seemed to look at David and like, yes, never. And David seemed like he had got some kind of message from him. And then when they went to the couple's house, David sensed that it had nothing to do with an evil toy, but more so a way to get David over there to get the real message out. And David interpreted this. Now, first, before we deal with the toy thing, I just want to say, I think it's so great that even though the entity was trying to use David as just kind of like this errand boy, that David came through and said, no, I'm smart. Like through his actions, he was like, no, I'm smarter than this. You know what I mean? I'm not just a puppet or the person that's going to run around for the priesthood or the entity. You're going to give me more influence. And I love where that's going for him, because it shows, like Deb had pointed out, the question of tokenism, right? You know, David's one of the very few Black priests. Yes. You know, it's talked about the fact of the tokenism and things with him, and them kind of playing on this idea of David being like, and David showing that I'm not just a pawn in whatever thing is going on, but I've got something to say and do. And I really see him going into a leadership position, maybe in the entity. Maybe he ends up bringing David and Kristen in the fold and they end up doing even bigger things within the entity scope. Who knows? But I love that they're showing that he's not just a pawn. And they showed that with this particular one, where even though, what's his name? Levict? Is his name Victor? The guy from the entity?
I think
they said his name. Victor, right? Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think his name is Victor. And funny enough, I like this character too. I like his kind of like mysterious ways about him. I like the actor. I think he's really good for the part. Because I don't think he's evil. He has a certain ambiguity about him where it's not like, okay, I really don't trust this guy, but more so like, okay, what's this guy about? And I like that he ended up taking David's word and being like, come here. Okay, sure. You know what I mean? Like, because when he first told David, like, the people you work for are happy, that's enough. And David was like, no, because David's thing wasn't about pleasing these people. It was about saving grace. And I think saving grace, oh my gosh, but it was about saving grace. And with that being his driving force, I think it shows Victor LeConte. Yes, thank you, Josh. It was Victor. Great. Victor LeConte, that he's capable. And I love that they're doing that for him. And that's why funny enough, this is shaping up to be one of my favorite plot lines of the season thus far. I thought I wasn't gonna care for the plot line, but it really works. What do you think, Ma? Because what they ended up doing with the toys was, David thinks it had to do with just them trying to get the thing out about Grace, because Grace did end up in an internment camp in China, but Ben just thinks it's people trying to get out. And then you could think that maybe the toys really were possessed. So what say you, lady?
Because the damn thing kept playing.
That was funny.
I was waiting for something else to change with that thing. I mean, even though when it popped up, I was ready for something really ugly to come out of it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, when David told the guy, and he told the other guy that he was not the one that he's supposed to be negotiating with, he told the other guy, you're the one I'm supposed to be negotiating with. Yes. He was the one that had grace, could get grace out.
Yes.
But the other guy realized that too. Did you see his face when he said that? The guy
Yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, how did he find that out? You know?
Yeah. And then the guy that he knew he needed to talk to was like, it's actually
Hmm.
me.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, David, you know.
They probably did,
Um,
Did
yeah,
he
I'm
say? Did Victor say, "Yeah, David, you did good" or something? Did he say?
yeah. He told him, he's like, you did good. Like, yeah, it showed that David is capable of a bigger task. And I like that, you know. Um, yeah, as Josh is saying, I also would like to see more of Grace as well. I think she'd be a great, and I love the connection that her and David seem to have, where she really believes in David and David really believes in her. And, it would be nice, kind of even the odds of having two spiritual types and two more skeptics on the team, or at least someone that he can go to who's a little bit more on the spiritual side, even though we got Sister Andrea, but someone who's a little bit more leveled in that regard. But yeah, I just really
That
love
would be
that.
nice.
Yeah, I really just love that we got Grace back in the fold. I'm glad she's okay. I really liked her character, and I hope we see more of her. And yeah, Josh, if y'all want to, hang out with me on Twitch, I do video games over there and whatnot, such as Dead Space. Although I've been doing a little bit more, going for it, I might do a little bit more low key, chill ones, just so people can chill and hang. I've been playing The Sims a lot, y'all, with vampires and stuff. So I might let y'all in on what I do on The Sims for some hours on Twitch going forward, if y'all care about that. I do. I play some Sims. I'm a simmer in that regard. Hey, Kid at Heart, how's it going? Kid at Heart, how's your Wednesday? Yes, we love the Sims. I got vampires and everything in my Sims. I don't have the werewolves yet. I didn't get the werewolf pack. But anyway, what I was saying. So did you think it was an elaborate thing by the entity to get Grace out, or do you think the toys were actually possessed? I feel like the toys weren't actually possessed.
I felt that the toys was actually, especially when
Okay, so you think they were. Let us know in the chat, y'all, and
let's
also in the
forget
comments.
especially like I said, when that thing started playing. But come on, now what can? Why do it play by itself?
Well, it could have just been set up to get their attention, right?
Yeah. But all the toys, the stuffed animal eyes turn green.
That too.
So
I
why didn't?
don't know.
I mean, when he brought them in, the eyes was not green until he looked at them. They green.
Yeah. No, not till they came back with the green eyes.
No, he took some. Remember, he said he took some home.
Uh,
The one he had didn't have nothing wrong. Then when he looked at him again, the eyes was green.
really? I didn't notice that.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
and like when he did every toy. When he did now when he shook up the thing, I'm saying, what the hell is that? When he looked
That
at it,
was
I said,
funny. That
what
was
is
so
that?
good.
I thought it was
I
a
really
haircut. You
they
know?
do really well with creepy toys. I'm still waiting for that friggin' those dolls to come back into the fold.
Yes.
We
See,
got a
they
little
didn't
bit
go
of
back to
that.
that one.
We need to go back to the dolls, because they never really got deep into that whole thing with the
And
dolls
now
being
with
haunted
Christine,
and cursed.
I mean, with her,
Right? Where mom, I'm like, what's good with the dolls? We need the dolls to come back. But they did a really good job with the creepy factor. And let's just all be real. Creepy dolls and toys are creepy.
with the magic
And
ball got a finger. I said, "Oh my
but
god!"
even though Ben did say that the finger was probably just an accident at a factory, and we all know accidents can happen at factories. So
So wait a minute,
um
you cut off your finger and then you stuff in the ball. You realize, oh, I don't have a finger.
well, no, I don't think I think they realized they didn't have a finger. I'm saying they might not have realized where the finger went in the midst of them trying to run and get you know what I mean? Like, if you
Guys,
look at
I
if
mean,
you
really.
see automated factories, it happens all the time.
Ooh.
Particularly as someone who does activism. One of the things I used to some years ago used to be about was trying to organize people in meat packing places, and they dealt with a lot of injuries on the factory line. because they have them chopping so quickly and things like that. People would lose fingers and limbs and things like that because they were made to go so quickly. So I'm not surprised that someone literally lost their finger and probably didn't know where it went in the midst of trying to keep the blood down. It does happen. So that's actually pretty realistic.
No, I don't know like that.
You don't know factory? Oh, those factories are regular places.
That's really bad because now
it is. Now you're thinking about it when you eat. People lose limbs.
Oh, wait a minute. You gotta look at the canned food. You go, is there anything in this?
It happens. The meat packing, a lot of these factories, they push the workers way harder than they should, and that's why a lot of people fight for unions and benefits and stuff. No, we all need to know this because we need to fight for workers' rights.
I did not need to go there. Damn, y'all put your feet. Oh my God.
So Jaws is saying they really built up David's frustration with the entity and how he felt underappreciated because it was all beginning to feel unserious and really made him question why bring him to do silly games. Exactly. So I love that he also got a payoff in the end with Grace. I think it really showed, okay, this is worth it. I'm doing good work. Kid at heart is saying that's a lot of corporation. They want us to move exactly. They want us to move like robots. They want us to push out a lot of us, hence why certain laws are getting passed. And then they want a lot of us to just keep working until we die. That's what they want to do. But I will get off my soapbox for a second. So
we caught up.
Okay, so now we have the Cheryl and Lexi one. That's a pretty short one. So Cheryl seems to be in on, and we knew that because we knew that in season 2, she knew about Lexi's situation. Cheryl seemed to be trying to see if Lexi saw
what
yes, and Lexi didn't seem to see it. So, and that made Cheryl question whether or not Lexi was the one they were looking for in terms of, as what it was explained by Victor LeConte, is supposed to be like the ambassador or the next holder of one of these big demon castle kingdoms, cults or whatever. I kind of figured she wasn't going to see what was there. I would be surprised. I would also be surprised because Lexi and the girls do have good poker faces that maybe Lexi did know and just didn't want to let it be in on it that she saw something. That could be a thing too, but I don't know. What do you think about that, Ma?
She could, because she just seems so normal, like, looking at him and he was playing. Because she said he might not smell bad. She didn't, that was nasty. I said, damn. But she held that good. When she asked her, how many eyes did you see? 2.
Yeah. So Lexi doesn't seem to be seen. I think Lexi is showing, because this was a question that Kristen had, right? About nature versus nurture. And the fear that she has for Lexi, considering what Leland and them did with the fertility clinic versus how Kristen has raised her. And it'll be interesting how this plays out. My odds are that Lexi is actually good and that even if she might have something in her, she could grow up to be better. But we have also seen situations where, like that boy that the parents killed, he didn't turn out so good, But was that a shortcoming on the parents then? Or was that gene of evil just too strong and eventually kicked in for him? So that'll be interesting to see it play out. I think it also adds to the fact that we need a Cheryl. We need to figure out what Cheryl's end game is. Like, how is she okay with Lexi going into this world? And if she loves her daughter, Kristen, so much, why is she okay with this happening to Lexi? You know what I mean? Like how deep is Cheryl into all of this? And I think this goes to the question that Deb had of Cheryl being possessed. I don't think Cheryl is possessed. I just think she's been so lured in by the dark side, which we'll also talk about that when it comes to Kirk, our favorite therapist, Kirk, and what that is with him as well. So I think she's just been lured in.
She asked her, what about the other grandkids?
I feel like that was just Lexi wondering, why am I just the only daughter here from all of us?
I wonder if she's going to tell the other kids, I was at grandma's job. And then they're going to ask her, why didn't you take us to your job?
Yeah,
I hope
maybe.
she do. I hope she do tell them that she was there, and they're gonna ask her. Because I don't think Leland liked all the kids.
Oh, Leland does not like all the kids. He does not like all the girls. But but Leland also seems very sure that Lexi is who he thinks she is, which is this demon heir. So it'll be nice if maybe we go a little bit deeper into that on why he's so believing of that. Tom is saying, but they love their grandma. I don't feel like they would lie to her. Exactly. So that too. And I think Lexi does feel secure enough with her grandmother that she wouldn't be like, why would I lie to her? But I do also think Lexi just wants to be a normal girl too. So maybe it could be. I mean, if she was lying, I think you're right, Tom. I don't think she's lying, but if she was, it could be explained as the same thing when she thought she had a tell back in season 2 of her
Mm-hmm.
just really trying to be a normal girl to the point where she would lie about things not to look weird, you know. John's is saying, I think it had to do with the parent because they were more worried about their new baby than their son. So he was more swayed to the evil, whereas Christian is very involved and cares for all her daughters. Exactly. That's a good thing too, because it did seem I think they did explain that he started acting weird when they had another baby. So that might play into it that they were
Maybe they wasn't showing him the love that
yeah,
they
and
did.
that made him
So
more
sometimes you can,
susceptible.
yeah. I mean, that happened even now when somebody have another baby and you're neglecting the child that was before the baby, and you're not trying to include the child in there. And
Yeah.
maybe he felt like that too, like you're not including me in this with this baby.
Yeah. Have a great day. Have a great day or night at work, kid at heart. Thanks for dropping by. It's always a pleasure.
You too, be safe.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that you're probably right about that, Josh, that it was probably a thing where, because we do know when that thing, when David talked to him, he said he started reading more comic books and evil stuff happening in the comic books that were influencing him because he was stuck in his room all the time, probably because his parents stopped paying attention to him so much. So
Yeah.
yeah, that could definitely be a part of that for
How can I
sure.
say what was it?
Nature versus nurture.
Yeah, because he was telling Kristen that, like, it's how you raise what you give that child.
Yeah. Tom is saying Lexi is the only child conceived at RMS fertility clinic, and doctors were tampering with the egg. So maybe the fertility clinic is in cahoots with the dark side. Leland's probably tied into. He is. I think we found
Yeah,
out actually in season 2 that Leland was part of that he had ties or a stock or something in it.
yeah,
So we definitely. I feel like it was shown to us that they were doing that they were literally inserting women with the Antichrist, the Antichrist and demon influence, and stuff like that. So that would make sense. I also understand Christian's frustration with that, thinking, was I a pawn this whole time because of this? You know what I mean? From the very onset, because when you don't feel like you're in control of your life, that can be very, especially for someone like Christian, as we saw with Aries, y'all. We got into the zodiac today. She probably felt like, hey, I'm losing control. And maybe people like that. Let us know, Tom. You are the zodiac expert tonight. That maybe it's a whole thing of control with them too. That if they feel like they have less of it, that starts to feel kind of weird. And then finally we have Kirk. Kirk is going down into the dark side with Leland, and I'm
what
afraid
you
for
want to
him.
write a book and he don't know, he don't care which way he's going as long as he write a book.
And that's just crazy to me. I'm like, you're really willing to
Yeah.
just accept, like, why does he trust Leland so much? Like, why not go to Sister Andrea, be like, yo, Leland is telling me I need to accept this demon inside my
Yeah,
body.
but you
And
did.
I wonder why. I'm not saying Kirk is lackadaisical about it, but I wonder why he's so gung-ho to have it happen. You know? Like, he's just kind of like, yes, I need to write this book, and I'm gonna write this book. And I don't know why why would he even trust that if he lets this demon inside of him, that the demon's going to go easily? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about. I am interested to see where it goes. It's probably in some way to get to see. I I feel like Leland is doing this as a way to get to Sister Andrea, though, because
Yeah.
why else would he take suddenly an interest in Kirk? You know, what's his connection? You know, and I think the connection right now is either Kristen or Sister Andrea, but I'm leaning towards Sister Andrea because he did want Kirk to get her hair and stuff like that. So there may be a thing of him maybe trying to eventually get Kirk to either kill Sister Andrea or something else. Hopefully Kirk will come to his senses, but it is kind of crazy he's going down this. It's funny. I do love the whole thing with the spin wheel thing. It's creepy, the bop and everything, like the boop and everything like that. But I am also just worried for him because I do like his character and I don't want him to completely lose his crap, you know, or worse. So, do you think Kirk is going to come out of it eventually, Ma?
I hope he do. But look like he's getting deep. He's listening to Leland,
Leland.
Leland, and he's listening to. I mean, you don't even question that. You come in there. Well, see a real. I mean, you should want the demon to come. I wouldn't want no demon to come in me.
Yeah.
Well, he just said, "Yeah,
I want to write this book." Sure, okay, I'll take this thing.
So
and it's also,
you know.
I also wonder if he's taking it seriously. Maybe on some level he thinks it's parlor tricks and stuff like that. I don't know. Sabetti is asking a very good question. Do you think that the doctor could be doing undercover work for Sister Andrea? That would be a great twist if that ended up being what Kirk was trying to do. I wonder if Sister Andrea would even allow that, though, because she seems very straight-laced by the book, you know? But I would love that. It would help to make it so Kirk isn't in complete danger. And it also, like, you know, because we haven't seen Sister Andrea for like 2 episodes so far, episode and a half. So it would be nice to see her playing a part in this because no one's talked to her yet. David hasn't been talking to her about the entity or anything like that. So it's kind of like, well, what Sister Andrea has been up to, you know? And I could see that being a thing, but I would wonder what would she be able to protect him with him like accepting demons into his body and stuff. So Tom is pointing out Leyland is trying to grow his team. Maybe that could be a thing. He did induct Cheryl into his thing. So he might be trying, maybe he's trying to get everyone that's around Kristen to come to his team, you know? Tom is also saying, remember the girl who said she was saved from the burning apartment, but turned out, yep, that was a thing too. You know, he's got people on his team. So it could be a thing of undercovers, you know. I could see that. Although I feel like if that was the case, Kirk, they'd be able to figure it out with the doctor like a mile away because he's so perky that if he suddenly started acting shady, maybe they'd be onto him too quickly. But I don't know. I really am interested to see what Leland's end game is with Kirk. And also, hopefully Sister Andrea steps in. I really am just crossing my fingers that Sister Andrea saves Kirk because if that's where it's going, you know, I hope it's not going that route, that he gets over to the dark side. When Sister Andrea sees Kurt, she will see if something is attached to him. She will see it. And that's when she'll probably be like, what have you been up to? You know, so hopefully maybe we'll see a real exorcism with Kurt at some point. Okay, you know. So yeah, so I think that was pretty much all that happened in Demon of Parenthood. It was a very good episode. I gave it a B plus. A lot of you gave it A's and A minuses. My mom gave it an A plus. Do you have any predictions, Mom? And let us know, y'all, in the chat and the replay if y'all have predictions.
My prediction. I predict that somehow I'm hoping that baby survived whatever he did to it. Maybe they can still save it if she called him in time. I predict maybe there's something's gonna go on with that baby, with the baby thing, with Kristen.
Hey Trainer, how's it going? I miss y'all over on Twitch. I'll be on there soon though. I'm gonna be on Twitch. Oh, you're going to VA, Virginia, right? Have a safe trip. Yeah, thanks so much for dropping by. I'm going to be on Twitch again. Don't worry. We're going to be doing some Sims and stuff over there probably, but going to be hanging out soon. Sabeti is saying how many episodes left. I think that's what we were trying to figure out, Ma. We don't know how many episodes are left in this season. I'm wondering if they're giving them. Well, how many episodes did we have last season? Was it 11 or 13?
I don't remember.
I'm hoping it's 13.
No, they went. They
It might have been 10 actually. Might have been 10 episodes last season. I think it was 10 episodes last season.
But like I said, my prediction is that now that Grace is back, they might keep Grace on so her and David could probably tell David to help David out. And I predict that Kurt, I hope Kurt wake up. I really do hope he see what he's doing, how it's affecting him. And as for Ben just a hole, but you know. With Ben, I think I like the way they doing with Ben.
I like what they're doing with Ben.
Ben is having a lot of episodes that he's in it, and he's trying to prove science-wise.
I think they're doing so good at giving them all equal weight when it comes to their plots. And I love that for them. I love that because you don't always get that with a show. Sometimes you have a show of a trio or whatnot, and there's always like one of the characters gets a lot more development than the others, and one character is always lacking, and they get that one episode a season.
Equally,
you know,
they all been doing equally, especially when they have an episode with Ben doing mostly you just have to laugh with Ben.
Yeah,
and then because he's trying to prove that it's not supernatural, they're not possessed,
and sometimes he gets stumped. Sometimes he gets stumped.
It do scare him, and he can realize, wait a minute, it can't happen, you know. But I'm predicting anyway that everything start coming together. They're gonna come out and find about Andy. I hope they do.
Yeah, so Betty also has a prediction that I think that she says she thinks Kurt will find Andy. That would be really great. I hope Andy is found. Once again, I'll say it like I said last week. I don't think that's the right way to end the Kristen and Andy relationship. We need close. I don't think their marriage should last, but I think the better way to end that is to have him alive and have joint custody. I don't think you need to kill the husband off just because, you know, she's in love with another man.
Mama needed, you know, he needed, I don't know, Cheryl just, I don't know what's up with her. She would take a father from their kids, even though she don't like them. I don't care if you don't like them. That's still the father of your grandkids.
Yeah, but the whole thing is the influence and the connection she wanted to Lexi. So probably it was also being worried that he would try to stop her from spending time. So, but that was something else he needed to really have a conversation with Kristen about. They don't talk. Dad was saying that was the whole thing of the demon chasing Kurt on that record. Well, if it caught him, I guess that means Leland's pulled him into the dark side. Let's hope that's not what happens then. But that's a very good point, Deb. My prediction is hopefully Grace plays a bigger role because she is really powerful. And I hope that, you know, she can help them with what they're trying to go on about. My other prediction, not necessarily for next episode, but I do think David is going to start having more leadership in the entity. And he'll probably play a bigger, more influential role in that as well. So I'm excited about that for him too. So those are kind of my only predictions right now. I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to go on with everything. I don't know about the baby being alive. It was 8 months, so maybe, I don't know, especially if it was Demon. But then again, that guy had a clever, so he could have, who knows. Just really tragic. I was more concerned for Valerie because I was just like, that's so tragic for her character. But
knocked her off. But see, that's what I mean. Now they were suing this company, you know, for the egg and everything. I wonder if she still get that money or what.
Maybe I don't know. Deb is saying I'd like to see Grace and David work more together. Yeah, that'd be great. Yes, Grace gets premonitions, and her premonitions are pretty accurate. So it'd be really good to see some of the things she might have to say about stuff. I wonder how many of these infusions are affecting Cheryl's behavior. That too. That could be it as well. But the thing is, they never fully explained what the infusions were. Is it demon essence? Like, what is that? Like, that was the other thing. Like, can we get an explainer about what that actually is? Jaws is saying, see, now I don't care for Andy, so as long as they get him out of here. I hate to say it, but Jaws is just like, I don't really care how he's got dealt with. I just want him gone. My thing is, I said last week, I want the real closure for Kristen. That's my whole point with Andy. And I feel like if they make it so that he's dead, it's going to prolong the situation there, especially since he's not really dead. And if they are keeping him alive, that leaves this hanging over their heads that if something happens and her and David get closer, or she just moves on in general, then Andy somehow gets freed and he's back. And now she has to deal with the ramifications of him being back. I just feel like it's going to be a way to prolong that. And I'd rather them just amicably end that relationship. And that can't happen if he's stuck in a refrigerator somewhere, with the chance that he might escape, even if she thinks he's dead, like a soap opera. You know what I mean? They always do that with soap operas. My mom knows this very well. The woman thinks her husband is dead, or the husband thinks his wife is dead. He moves on, and then she comes up, oh my gosh, they weren't dead. And now there's a conflict because he's got two wives or two husbands. And, it's a whole thing. And I'm like, let's not do that. Let them break up, and then do whatever you need to do with Andy. But if they don't, we'll have to deal with that. And I'd rather not. Deb is saying I agree. So let's see where it goes, y'all. My hope is that Kurt gets saved, and I really, really am enjoying David's plot line this season. I'm so glad where they're taking it. I wouldn't have expected it, but that too, that's my whole thing, Deb. If they kill him off, she's gonna have a whole bunch of guilt, and I just don't want to see that. Like I just honestly don't want to see that. I'd rather he come back and they break up, so she doesn't have this guilt hanging over her about anything, because that's just gonna stand in the way of a lot of development, I think. So all right, y'all, this was a fun time, a nice hour spent with you all. So we got next week, we got episode 9 we'll be diving into. And until then, I want you all to stay safe out there. If you haven't given this video a like, please do so. It feeds the algorithm demon, as we know, to have other people who might want to join our twisted family here to talk stuff, because we love doing that. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for hanging out. So everyone stay safe and stay chill out there. And I'll talk to y'all next week for Evil. All right. Night, y'all.
Night.